Hi, my name's Scott. Thanks for joining Sanjivana and myself today in this fifth edition of Chatter and Calm.
And Sunny?
And, and today we'll be talking about manifestations of climate change with the guest Sunny Franson. This is the third episode. Sunny's joined us. She has a wonderful background and knowledge of ecosystems she's gained through education as well as observation. And I think this will be a great session.
Now, there are areas that the snow leopard is coming back a bit that have been protected, but it's still disappearing too. The giant panda is losing its habitat. The tiger, of course, we know that is losing its. I mean, there are species everywhere, tiny mice that are evolved to live in a certain area that is specific to a habit that its habitat. They're disappearing too. I mean, everything is affected. Everything animals are having to in the mountains are having to migrate to higher elevations because their metabolism and their prey items and their ability to burrow or to hibernate is not possible at lower levels in warmer climes. They must keep to higher, colder climates. This is happening, and even plants are changing. Um, the Mediterranean zone is moving north, for instance. That's changing too. So for people to say that climate change is not happening is, to me, unbelievable because it is happening and it's happening a lot and it's affecting everybody worldwide, affecting people worldwide. But you can see it in the natural environment. It's happening everywhere. So I'm so surprised that people cannot not actually know that climate change is happening. Do you think that they are denying it, that people who are denying it are doing so because they don't believe that humans have anything to do with it?
Um, I'll jump in there real quick. I just came across a post on one of these social media outlets, as probably X, which is a former Twitter, and possibly because that that particular platform seems to be moving in a much more dramatic right fashion. So people are who have things like this to say, and like people who are climate change deniers feel free to espouse their views there. And I saw a post of this guy, and then I clicked on his profile so I could read more of his posts. And he's just absolutely he says, if we look at core ice samples, we'll see history of very, very dramatic changes in climates, and he and a lot of that group, um,
Sorry.
I think they might be victims of some of the disinformation that's being actively spread by the big petroleum companies, because they do put a lot of money into the active spread of active disinformation. And I unfortunately do feel it's kind of a profit-based denial. But again, and I'll touch on something very briefly that's a big issue. It, the literacy rate in the United States and the reading level is depressingly low. And I don't want to go into that as a topic, but over 60% of the Americans are at reading level of sixth grade and lower. So when you have this combination of kind of uh, misinformation spread in a certain way, a lot of people will just kind of lap it up and agree to it. And this is one of those. Also because um, accepting these ideas creates a lot of internal discomfort, I think. So if you kind of deny it, then you're denying that discomfort and you're denying the existence of this thing. I'm sorry, I'm going too far in that direction. I hope I answered your question there, Sunny, though.
Well, no, it's you're making good points. Do you, how do you think the mind shift can be changed? Do you think it can be?
Oh, yeah. Well, number one, I believe, well, to address that one issue, from a lot of these deniers, they say, well, there's a history of climate change. There is, the planet's gone through a number of huge swings in climate. That's not debatable. I think the big issue here is that we are causing this one. I think we're the ones, our
Yes.
presence is one that is causing this current disturbance. I think what is happening right now is much worse than most people acknowledge or realize, and then we're talking about the comfort level of dealing with this kind of stuff. Because if you acknowledge it, then you have to acknowledge that in some part you're also responsible for it.
Mm.
And then further down the line, are you going to take responsibility and adjust your actions or do something to deal with it? And that's where we're at. And I think it is possible. I mean, I don't know about reversing, but just discussions like this, informing people. And again, I didn't want to get into that hard debate. Does this exist? Because these people can be pretty steadfast, but I'd rather just ingrain in people's notion that look at this, look at this, look at this. You can't deny that these things are happening. And if you accept that these things are happening, then in turn, on some deeper level, you're going to have to come to terms with the fact that we are causing this.
Mhm.
I mean, and a little bit later, I'd like to bring something up Sanji mentioned last time, but I'd like to bring that up after, you've had a little bit more time to kind of discuss the things that you'd like to talk about.
I agree with all of that. I'm hoping that positive uh, ways of seeing things with, for instance, with empathy can help. But I do think we're looking at the difficulty of how people see other areas of the planet in comparison to how they see themselves. And I think that's a difficult place to be at this point in time. But I agree with you. If we keep sharing how these things are happening with climate change, and the problem of water, for instance, is horrible in many areas of the world. It's needs to be addressed. Lack of water, too much water, all of it, and this is a result of climate change. Um, Individual organisms that require oh a certain spatial and temporal habitat to survive, even microorganisms and everything that survives above that is in the food web, that goes to more complex organisms, that goes to plants, mammals, fish, and all of it is, they've evolved in very specific ways, and something that rattles their habitat rattles them and their ability to survive. So I do think that is major. It's a major issue, and things that have disappeared will probably not come back unless at some point we were able to reverse something and there's a little seed of something that can grow again. I'm hoping that happens. I don't have an answer, but I think the basic answer is spiritual in nature. I really do. It's about how we see things. One could talk about, pardon me, individual wildlife and how they have tried to adapt. They have tried to adapt to us. I don't know that we have tried to adapt to them. In a few places, yes, but at preserves and things like national parks, but we otherwise have not. I don't think we've used them. That's not going to be able to continue if we're going to survive. It just isn't. So that's where I'm at with this. I don't see us reversing this unless we have a major change in our thought process. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, Sanji? Just on that topic of changing thought processes within human beings, and especially in respect to, I guess, climate change.
So I would like to add a little thing for to enhance what Sunny said. So please,
Yes.
how to say, enlighten me, or because you know about this field. No? So I saw a recent video in Florida, Scott. Like they have alligators, right? Now, but now somebody had put like Nile crocodiles, and these ones are massive, right? So Florida alligators are already aggressive, but these ones are like massive, and they did this to the Burmese pythons also. And then like uh, alligator fish and all. And we also have these. First, it was the tilapias and all. So some people keep them as pets. Now even Burmese pythons, and they allow these are also animals. No, so then people like back again have to kill them. They are saying like shoot whenever you see one, shoot them, no, or kill them. Or there's a season for that. Yeah. So and then there's so much how to say food for them. They can even become massive. And this is one big crocodile can swallow even a human. And so if they even hurt one person or something, maybe most of them will go away, or they will start killing. No. So humans are the ones who put them into that situation, and then after that they try to remove them from them. So I'm just telling, like, yeah, you see them keeping them as pets or exotic pets, and then then it changes the whole ecosystem, right? And then because it's already very well made, but and then think of the thing, like when humans put garbage and all these poisons, this is by just putting some living beings. uh, these are all human made, no? And they put all these toxins, garbage, and all these things into the environment, and how toxic that is. If an animal or some being is like released into the wild, and they grow and bring up such a big impact on the nature and everything, or the environment, uh, and then uh, what can happen? No? So I saw even another. There was a simple post, like there were footprints on the beach. So there's the beach, and there's small. So it was like a cat's footprint, the dog's footprint, but after the human's footprint, there were like a lot of trash. Yeah. But the cat's footprint or the dog's footprint, after that, there was not like a bunch of trash after that. Yeah, so any place like we see, like even if they go for sightseeing, unless you have to put all these regulations and all, humans are so used to just dispatch whatever they brought. So you have to force them, you have to take the garbage back. Or you have to, no? But animals, they don't do this, no? We call ourselves advanced and intelligent and everything, but we seem to do the most hideous of things. So, Sunny, what do you think of those? I was just trying to like add something to what you said.
I do think we do the most serious of things. I think it's about our assuming that other parts of our planet are not sentient, but they are. They're completely sentient. And this goes down, I think, to the microorganism level. And we can see with science that we can understand how they survive and how they must know how they must survive, from tiny motile green algae, for instance, up to complex mammals, large mammals. However, we need to understand that they also have more ability than we recognize, If we see that, then we have to suggest that we might not be the most intelligent animals on the planet. And that, I think, is a harsh reality that we don't want to accept. It's easier to use rather than give. And that, to me, is the basis of this. And I wish that we could help. And we can. We can do small things here and there. We can pick up trash on the beach when we see it. We can leave plants to grow when we see them. We can allow wildlife to be free in areas rather than kept as pets, which is, in my opinion, really wrong. We cannot hunt wildlife just for the sake of hunting. That's horrible. There's so much we can do. I'm not sure how to approach the motivation for doing better rather than using. What do you think, Sanji?
Yeah, I saw some places, for example, they have done really clever things, and they found out which species of plants used to exist there, not just like material worth or money wise monetary worth. So they were researching and they found, okay, these plants were the native plants here, and they started growing. And there was another place like even released, there were say wolves in that area before, and actually they introduced, then they were extinct, and they brought some wolves and actually introduced them to there. And you know what? That area started flourishing just by this one or two few wolves. So there are methods we can, yeah, surely, like you said, we have to pick our own trash for sure. Like we have to be responsible, and that will show another child even like this is what you do, or you show them, okay, you pick it up, you bring it. No, I saw in some nice country, uh, the child doesn't do something, and the mother sends him back all the way to do it again. Huh? So in a way, like she said, no, 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 go, 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 and maybe CCTV or someplace, but the mother was waiting, and then this child, he could have just gone, oh, she's my next time or something. No, she said, no, no, no. You go all the way, pick it up, and come back. So it was recorded on CCTV. So from the smallest, just the things we can do, and like really organize. I saw a couple, a gentleman and a wife. They had grown like trees in a barren area, and now for 20 years. And now it's a flourishing forest again. Huh? So there's birds, there's animals. So even the wolf story, like it's not just about the wolves because the deers come and eat the seeds. And there's a long story that happens. And then if
Yes.
those seeds grow, there are plants that the birds can rest and eat the fruits and all. So when you put the wolves in, what happened? They like balance because there are many deers and it was going out of hand. And they used to eat even the little grass and even all what they could find, it seems. So if there was somebody like, or people, there are surely, right? Without the distraction and for surely like in your experience and your time also, no? What you were and still also, right? And uh, if we can implement these kind of like very healthy and we say like we don't see much solutions, but we do have solutions, right? From the most subtlest level,
Yeah.
and even to the biggest extent, right? And if a couple can grow a big forest, like okay, it took 20 years, but we do 20 years worth of like nonsense, right? Maybe gossiping 20 years, right? Or,
Yeah.
or doing this and that, which is like sometimes harmful for oneself and the other even. So the mind, if we can change and if we see the value, and we can like it's just a switch, and then more people can be promoted and to see these things. and it can be turned around, or even usually always there'll be the opposition or like opposite side of things, but it is possible, right?
Mhm.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, Sanjay, I like the way you say a switch. It is kind of a switch. I was when you said that the mental image I had is literally flipping a light switch because and then exposing light and having that be that trigger. Um, and but there are two things I'd like to like. I want to ask you real quick, Sonny, because a moment ago you were talking about as the ecology is changing, animals going further up the mountain to adapt and survive to the changing conditions. But you did say plants are changing, and the small question I had when you mentioned that is, do you see kind of an I don't think this is right, enthogenic? Are you seeing plants literally adapting and changing on a genetic level? Or are you talking about plants changing, just kind of dying off and seeing an elimination or eradication, not eradication, but elimination, dying off of entire species of plants as well? Or do you see, I mean, it's hopeful that there is some kind of genetic change and mutation in the process. But again, it's still a big change that we're talking about. And these changes, if and when they occur, they also accompany an environmental change. But I guess my question is, yeah, are you seeing just that change occur in dying off of species
Or a
of
basic
plant?
change of plants.
Yeah.
They're moving. And I think that change happens in every way that you're mentioning. Life will out. It finds a way. It's adaptable. So plants are turning up in areas that used to be more southern, but now are more northern. They probably have had genetic changes, a few of them here and there. That happens. And plants are dying out in certain areas, but they're popping up, or they're advancing. For instance, to higher elevations or to lower elevations where it's possible. All of these things are happening. And again, Sanji was saying interconnections. Everything's connected. So the birds will move with them, wildlife will move with them. They will also, as they move, they'll form their own climate in a way, like in forests, for instance. Uh, we're not alone on this planet. Everybody is interconnected with everything, in my opinion. It's so, yes, with plants, they are organisms that actually can move. They take a long time, but they can. So yeah, all of it. I'm sure there's genetic variation here and there that hasn't shown up before, because that happens in all life, everywhere, all the time. We see it in viruses. It's just it's very it's a very dynamic system, or life is dynamic. Put it that way. All life, and I wish we could, as people, appreciate that more, because it's a beautiful thing. It's really beautiful to see. We are a part of it. We're not apart from it. We are a part of it, I should say. So yeah,
Yeah.
I remember or I don't remember. I work with the fish I was talking about. For instance, it has to have a certain climate and a certain habitat of just maybe a half an inch or a quarter inch of water, because that's what allows the tiny microorganisms it needs when it's what its larva needs when it's a day old to survive. And as it grows, it eats more like colonial green algae, not just single motile green algae. That happens on a day-to-day basis or every couple of days. If you take away the climate so that those microorganisms can grow, or the water so that they can't, then they aren't able to grow because they don't have an environment that's suitable. You take away the fish. The fish feeds other fish. The fish feeds birds. The fish feeds mammals. The fish provides nutrients in the water. The whole system changes. So it's everything together.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up again, because I was going to ask you about, because you talked about that. There might be a better word for it than ecosystem last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I really was hoping you'd touch on it again, because it's fascinating and very significant, I feel. But I think it would help, when because we're trying to educate, we're trying to get people to think about and remember these things, and then hopefully down the line adjust or behavior. But in order to create that place in their brain, like, do you have like, give us names for these, like that fish, Sonny? Is there a more than just the classification? What's the fish called?
Oh, it's the one that I've been watching over for a few years is called Clear Lake Hitch, or Lavinia exsilicata chai. Is its scientific
Clear Lake Hitch?
Clear
Sorry.
Lake Hitch, and it's threatened species. And I see it as, well, I would like to see it survive because it's been here in this area for thousands of years and it's endemic. It's evolved to suit a certain type of climate at a certain time of year, for spawning, for being an adult, for all of it. But it also feeds everything else around it. And that includes plants. It provides nutrients for that too. I mean, any wildlife will over time, but so anyway, that's what it's called. And
Tell me again. Well, I didn't hear what you called. I didn't hear the name.
Clear Lake Hitch.
Clear Lake Hitch.
The scientific name is Lavinia exsilicata chai.
Okay.
Okay, so
that's helpful. That's very helpful. No,
okay.
Because it gives it more of a mental presence. Because when you talk about these things, they can be a bit ephemeral, and the more details you add to it. I mean, even last time Sanji was talking about. I don't know. Do you remember, Sanji? You were mentioning to me about how they're getting kids to take notes and maybe create pictures and then download it. And where you were talking about maybe downloading it to a website. Do you remember that? Sanji, you were talking about that, and that this was one of the most watched downloads of all times, and I possibly might have misheard some of that, but just creating something of that nature, if you can get kids to, and I don't like the way this sounds, but if you can get kids to buy into the story, and it's not like there's some fiction here, that this is reality, and to get children to kind of understand it, I think that would be also very helpful, just in terms of creating this awareness, this mental space and awareness of these are very real occurrences, and they're significant on a number of levels. And then, like, getting this to children so that they can kind of process it on that level. And I'm just saying this to try and create this awareness and an acceptance that what we're dealing with is a reality, and not just something akin to comic books that we're talking about on a fictional level.
Mm-hmm.
You don't remember what I was talking about there, Sanji?
Yes, Berdell. Yeah, because nowadays, like with this digital environments and all, like now they have those goggles like things. No, I don't know what they call them even. So when we used to come from school, we used to go on the road. There were fruit trees, or sometimes sneak into, and we were like messy playing around, no? and like monkeys and all. But because we could, even as youngsters, people could eat, no, so you just pluck from the, and some people say, you kids, you eat anything, no? And some were like, so we were like sneaking and then running after, then the owners said, oh, it was but fun, right? And
Yeah.
it's not to take something that belongs to another, but we didn't know at that time. So and more rural it was, like more better it was. If it was a town, it was like stuck and we didn't have much, no? So they were, without knowing even, they were always like around nature, much more. Now in this, we destroy everything, put it in a app or like a digital format, and then even for adults, we have this nice music of nature. We call it white noise and all. And we have destroyed everything, and we are making this virtual reality where children are also living, uh, and they are like becoming like AI themselves. And even adults, we have to show them these videos or apps or something that takes to a how to say a ultimate for very virtual reality. Uh, it's like a parallel universe, right?
Yeah.
So, and
Yes.
Mhm.
in a way, it's like fake, as well as that's why even children, they are so distant from even their parents or anything, no, even nature for sure. And now they have to organize like tours to go to a farmhouse just to show, okay, this is a farmhouse, this is what they are done. Huh? There are some children who have just 15 minutes of outdoor time, it seems. They come from the car, they jump out and maybe going in and out of the college or school, and they come back into the car and go back, and after that they are indoors. Maybe they do sports and all, basketball and things like that, in indoor courts and all. But there are kids who just spend 15 minutes per day outside. So surely, like if we can promote or like again start children also being with nature. Some countries actually are doing that even with safe adults. I met
Mm.
one gentleman, he's a very kind person, and in a European country, and with some safe adults, they even send small children, and there's a time for with to be with nature, which is a very good thing,
Yeah.
because if they get the feel of it, uh, even with animals and all, no, even domesticated animals, because after some time, any mind can be very ruthless, even to take their life, no. But you see these children with videos, and they are kissing the cows or the calves, and it's like they're hugging their parents, and it's very nice to see. You feel the genuine affection in there, and that makes their hearts also, no. And they, when you hug a tree or climb a tree, then it's like you are like how to say, embracing nature. So if we can try even to bring, or as individuals, or if we are elders, we can say to our grandchildren maybe, or the children, or if we are parents, we can tell our children, or if we, or who we come across, why don't you let these kids out, be out a bit? Why don't you let them run around and be happy? No, not just schooling, 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 schooling. Then they might become a person who again distracts everything. Just the build up of the brain and not the heart or anything, and they can be a person who distracts, who doesn't care. No,
Yeah.
if we can do some reverse cycling, yeah, surely like children can bring a big impact on this, but surely they'll need the help of the adults to guide them. No.
I agree.
Yeah. And Sunny, I'd like at some point if I can get you to send in an email the names of the genus and the scientific classification of the fish and the name of the fish. I think we should incorporate it in our posting somehow.
Mhm. Or
And then
sorry, yeah, please find me. Sanya, are you able to
what?
type it on the keyboard? Is it possible?
To do what? Sorry.
Is it able? Are you able to type it on a keyboard now? Do you
Oh,
have
right now?
do you have a keyboard in front of you?
Yeah, I can.
There's there's a chat section where you could type it there.
Oh, the chat. Yeah.
It's possible.
Sorry. Okay.
In the recording, they might get this.
Okay.
If possible. So you were telling Scott about here they are, Scott.
Lavinia, thank you very much. Clear Lake Hitch. That's what I thought you said. That's perfect. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to apologize for being kind of dire and, black, and sometimes and how I see things. I love nature, and I absolutely love it. And I want people to be happy with it and to help it and to feel at home in it themselves. As Sanji was saying, I think with children, that's a good way to start. And we can make it lightweight. For instance, I enjoyed writing about chickens because I watched their behavior. And I don't speak chicken, but it was clear to me that they were not stupid. They had more going on than I had realized by far. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's great. I was just going to say, because prior to coming across the title of your book, I'd always just kind of associated a rather low level of intelligence with the creatures, and that's just from being a kid chasing them around, watching them fly when they could fly just enough to avoid me. It just never occurred that they're, well, I'll refer to the phrase I wrote down, which you said just a minute ago, but and I kind of wrote it down in my own filter. It's basically sentience outside of humanity. And it's, not only does it exist, but many people are certainly in absolute denial of this possibility. And it exists, and it's a big thing. And everyone should be made aware of it. It seems crazy because it's evident, right? And shake someone and say, look at this, this is real, this is a thing. There is sentience outside of ourselves.
Yes, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And these are ideas that, like I said, I remember being, I think I was 6 years old, chasing chickens around, and I developed this notion that they're just extremely dumb animals, and that kind of held sway with me. I hate to say, probably until I saw the book, the title of the book, and I'm going to do some traveling. I'm going to buy that book. I'm going to read it, Sonny, and I'm looking forward to that. And reading about your observations, because again, and I don't think of myself as a stupid person, but and like I currently have the same idea about pigeons. I just think, not necessarily pigeons, but some birds. I just shake my head and think, how have they survived this long? They just don't seem that intelligent to me. But there is a sentience outside of humanity. There is sentience in organization and societies on their level that most are totally ignorant of. It makes me sad saying that, but I think that might be the case.
Don't be sad. Just enjoy what you learn. It's wonderful. Just go outside and look, and you'll see. Birds. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go on.
Oh, finish your sentence, and then because I'll jump in because I feel like I've stolen that. I was just looking through LinkedIn just so I could get kind of back and see if you're doing anything recently, Sunny. I did write down a couple notes. It looks like you've released a book relatively recently, The Dark Water Healing
Oh,
from PTSD. Was that you, or was that, or you?
yeah, I'm the author. I used
And
to.
yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't want to bring that up and force you to talk about that. It's not that relevant, but I'd like to put it out there if people read this to
Okay. It's totally
definitely look into it. Yeah,
totally fine, Scott. Yeah,
Say
yeah.
what?
yeah.
Yeah. Please
Okay.
about the book, no problem.
Well, I mean, I want to bring up the book just for Sunny, but I don't know if that's a topic we want to get into because actually the thing I wanted to ask Sunny about was two or three below that, two or three posts below that. And I like the word, but I didn't jump in and start reading about it. Echo psychology, Sunny. Can you, was that phrase that you wrote on LinkedIn? Does that resonate? Does that ring a bell with you? Eco,
Ecopsychology.
eco psychology.
Ecopsychology.
Yeah.
It's healing through nature, how nature heals us,
Okay.
and how we react to nature. It's turning into a field. I mean, it has turned into a field. It's about how nature heals us, how we heal in nature, how we can adapt, how we can enjoy and
Mm-hmm.
learn. Sanji, you were saying this last time, I believe, how we watched all the interactions when you were in the forest, and you were content. You learned. You saw. You even saw chickens take care of themselves against a predator. I thought that was wonderful. Yeah. So yeah, that is eco psychology. Yeah,
No, that
basically.
sounds fantastic. I know there's an article written a while ago. It was probably in the New York Times, but it was about how just walking through nature, maybe a big park, helps the brain create new neural pathways. And I don't know if that would be included under that umbrella of eco psychology. Um, but it's something I did. I had a small business for 10 years. It's extremely stressful. But just walking through, I lived right next to a really nice, beautiful park south of Seattle. And really just taking a 45-minute walk through the park, jumping across the screen, putting my hands in trees and feeling them, or just climbing up a couple levels of branches in a tree and coming down. By the time I get back home, I feel completely rejuvenated. And I won't go so far as to say I didn't have a care in the world, but my immediate perspective was dramatically changed. And that can be a great thing a lot of the time.
And Scott, please tell about your project you are doing. Like you go and plant trees, because I think this is a very practical aspect of what we each can do. Because he's involved in that, he goes every week, right? And please tell about share about that, Scott.
Yeah, plant trees. It's a community garden, Sonny. I'm sure they have them where you are, and I'd like to say we're planting trees. Actually, we are there. In our community garden, there's a spot. It's called the swale, and the swale um, allows for drainage from a building project to go through our garden because on one side of our garden there's a rather large building that's being it's built, it's being remodeled, and there's a huge parking lot. So, and then that's kind of on one side of the community garden, and then on the other side of the community garden, about 150, 200 feet down, is a river. So, parking lots change land's ability to absorb water. And when there's that occasional huge rain in Austin, and it doesn't happen, and we could use it right now. Actually, it's raining. It's been raining a bit, But when you have that huge rain and it's not absorbed into the land, it would go across the community garden and probably just completely wipe out 10 to 20 individual gardens on the water's path down to the river. So we created a swale, and I didn't create this. I've only had a plot in this garden for 2 or 3 months, but they created kind of a drainage path. They didn't create. There was a natural drainage path that we have been taking a lot of care of, augmenting, improving, putting um, a lot of indigenous plants around there to keep the soil down. And indigenous plants are great, as you mentioned, because they're good for the local. Good, they grow well because this is where they evolved, and two, they're great for keeping the soil in place, helping avoid erosion. And then they're also great because they provide homes and food for animals, birds, and small animals. So it's an ongoing project maintaining the swale, and we also have a water garden there. And again, it looks nice, but it's very functional, and we go to a lot of effort. Actually, I am inviting a woman who's in charge of the swale, and also another woman I've met recently who is a permaculture expert, and she certifies people. She has classes and she certifies people
That's great.
in that realm, and they're both fantastic people. And I'm relatively well. I don't want to make that projection. I will ask them both with deep respect and humility if they'd like to join us on this program at some point, and I think they might.
What kind of trees
But
did you plant, Scott?
oh, yeah, I couldn't tell you, Sanji. I cleared one of the big tasks is clearing crabgrass because it's invasive, it's not indigenous, and it'll just grow and choke everything out. So the first thing we do is get rid of the crabgrass. And then, but we are constantly planting trees. We're planting a lot, and I don't really remember. But this community garden is an absolute oasis because it's right near downtown. There are many cultures represented in the garden, and we really develop a strong sense of community. And then also right outside the garden, there's a group that's the food forest. So they have a public area,
Mhm.
and they're caring for trees and right now they're mostly pecans, because we're not really in the middle of growing season, but the food forest is more public in nature, and they have uh, trees that create nuts and other fruits that people can just kind of walk through and gather and consume on their own.
Uh-huh.
You are doing something wonderful and helping climate change right there.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, it's there's nothing. Well, there are lots. Like getting your hands in the soil it's a very significant thing.
It is. It is. It is. I wonder what could be done for children to do that more. What do you think?
Well, I really don't. Back to the Clear Lake Hitch. I'm sorry. That's a very compelling story, and I don't see how a class of fourth graders would just be fascinated by this. I mean, if there are pictures and maybe a field trip or two, it wouldn't take more than that. Because as Sanji just said, flip a switch. You got to flip the switch. You got to create that place in their mind, that sense of wonder and amazement, and then I think we do have an innate kind of problem-solving thing. There's an issue here, and then it's number one, you have to create awareness of the issue, and then two, hopefully get that natural process because they'll start thinking, and then they'll start talking to mommy and daddy, and hopefully, not hopefully, but maybe mommy and dad or daddy's some quiet denier and he'll grumble, grumble, grumble. But then that innocent childlike mind is just so beautiful and so true, you know.
True.
Not clouded by these things that cloud adults' minds. They'll start walking, you know, they'll start creating coloring books, or they'll think, what can we do? And I'd love to hear their solutions, you know, from an uneducated, you know, not from that space where they've spent 20, 30 years understanding delicate, fragile ecosystems, but you know, what
Yes.
could we do, and what what solutions they come up with. And then, you know, it'd be fascinating to get 20, 30. Unfortunately, what, you know, I feel sorry for a teacher that has 40 students, but get 40 pictures with their own little solutions and then download those to a database so people can see what they come up with. And that whole process, you know, you're flipping that light, you're creating an awareness, and then, gosh, you know, you might actually come up with a novel solution or two that scientists would sit there scratching their head like, maybe that'll work. You know, from the mind of a child. But that's just kind of how I saw that process going, Sonny. Because you asked a beautiful leading question, and I was thinking, how could we change? Sanji, you know, flip the switch. Yeah, turn on the light, create that light in the mind, and then go with the babes because they don't lie. Well, unfortunately, at
That's
some
true.
point they learn, but
That's true.
there's very beautiful truth there to children at certain, you know, like first grade, kindergarten's too young, but third grade, fourth grade, take that field trip,
Yeah.
look at it firsthand, be amazed and wondered, but then saddened because there's an extinction thing occurring here, unfortunately. But I think that's, I'm not going to say that's the only way to address the issue, because I don't foresee anyone being able to convince anyone on a city, county, state, federal level. It's, hey, we need $3 million to save this species. And maybe, you know, that is possible sometimes, but largely those requests get met with aggravation, I think.
Would you mind if I shared that your idea with a few people?
Sorry, that's what this forum's for, please.
Okay. And I wanted to share just one other thing. Delicate, fragile ecosystems are actually quite resilient, given even a little bit of a chance. Life will out. It works. It will.
Life will out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's very nice. I always wanted to bring this up, and there humans are so in a way like create. I saw not videos and documentaries like they have a fish pond. Above that, they have a chicken and a duck, like a farm. eh? And these are all for like commercial reasons. And they so the fish pond is supported by the ducks or the chickens. And then at some point they have rice paddy also, and the ducks are put into the uh, field which has water yet with the young paddy or the rice plants, and the ducks are so in a way they eat all the insects and everything, and even the weeds. And they have to guide them through, but they do a much better job or like a purpose than even a human or a machine, even it seems. So humans can think of all these things, no? Like one supports
Yes.
one supports the other, and then but for money or like commercial purposes. And then it's very sad in some parts, like we have there are wild elephants. It's very sad. And they have built sanctuaries in middle, like 3 villages, in rural villages. The sanctuaries, and they are cutting off trees and all. But the village, like if you bring a sanctuary into middle of like 3 villages, surely those animals will be coming to the village, and then eating their harvest and all these things. So then there will be conflicts with humans and the animals. And recently we got to know, like, the people who should be involved in protecting the animals, wildlife and all, they have huge, massive acres of like banana plantations, which they have high tension electric wire that the elephants and all, they don't even reach. This is high tension. Huh? And they pump water from the lakes that are inside the forest to those banana and cultivations, which are exported in within the forest, inside the forest. And what happens is the elephants come to the villages, and the people they put like domestic. These guys put like high voltage, so the elephant dare not to touch it even. But the people, after they have like many times the elephants coming and destroying the, because one elephant can destroy like even quarter acre, or like a big amount. Even if a wild, how to say, a wild pig comes, they can even like take a plot of land within one's eating. But if one elephant comes, they can eat like a massive area. And if a group of elephant come, you're done for. So these are poor farmers and all. And not only that, they bust into the houses and even like vacuum clean the grain seeds. Really. They like, so the farmers they had enough, they don't have weapons or anything, or they tried the firecrackers and all. So they put electric wires, the domestic. But soon as when the elephant touches that, they are supposed to put the normal battery lines, eh, which like just stuns them, and they are. But the elephant is also very clever. They know how to hit with their feet the post, and after they topple it, they like really put their steps and come. But the worst part is like they electrocute just to protect their houses and their crop, because some people they are borrow money and they cultivate. So one time, two time, three time, they are done for, right? And there are so many elephants dying now. It's very sad. And they put like this kind of like explosive stuff into some fruits or something, and even the little elephants, uh, they have big wounds and they suffer and die. But there's so much things happening in some other countries also. The mighty rainforests are just cut just for cattle, to bring up cattle, have graceland, because it is the meat industry there. Not even the timber. It's just for the meat industry. So these things are also happening in the world. So humans can develop and think so many ways. But why they cannot think of a simple way just to bring it back again, right? If they can plot all these plans and okay, ducks help that, fish pond helps this, all these things. And there are things like these big obstacles also within the systems and populations also who are supposed to protect, like even some endangered species. Some people who are supposed to protect them are the ones who poach them, right? Yeah. So there is this obstacle also, no? But in a small way, like Scott mentioned and all, we can try to do and support. There are good organizations. And we can do like what Scott is doing in our own way also, right?
Agree.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Thank you.
So many stuff happening, no?
Okay. Thank you. Will you excuse me? I need to leave. I'm
Okay.
so
Thank
sorry.
you so much, Sunny. Yeah.
I like this conversation very much, but I do need to leave.
That's fine. I'm glad you're here. And as Sanji was saying, please, you're welcome anytime. You bring so much to the discussion. Your presence and your knowledge are fantastic.
Oh, I am not so knowledgeable as you think. I just have a wide variety of ideas. That's all. Thank you for having me. This has been a wonderful discussion. And I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank
you so
Okay.
much, and have a wonderful day.
Yes,
Thank you. You too. You
Yes,
too,
yes, yes.
Scott. Thank you.
Good evening.
Bye bye.
Good rest of your day. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye. Okay.
So, Scott, shall we do some meditation also?
I think we should, Sanji.
Okay. So we can continue this topic, and if more people are interested,
Well,
also.
I'll get in touch with the women. I'm interested in how, and yeah, I don't mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
mind this not being
and
not being edited out,
I
but
met a
I've
very
reached
good
out,
person.
and it's just interesting how
Uh-huh.
I think the absolute lack of response means that they're thinking a lot about their response to my requests.
Maybe they could be.
Or they might actually just genuinely be really busy and haven't
Yeah,
had time to read
we
their
never know,
texts
right?
or what?
Well, we never know, no? Like it can be a family
Oh yeah,
emergency or anything, no?
that's true. Hmm.
And, yeah, I also met a very nice person, a young person from Spain. And this person, maybe we can invite. I tried to invite her also, but maybe like she just we just met online, and
Yeah.
she seems like a great nature lover. So
Hmm.
and hopefully, like we can bring in people like those also. So it seems like there were many photos and all. She was like in the forest, and yeah, yeah. So these are
Okay.
genuine people, no, like who really love the nature, who like being with it. It
Hmm.
was not a photo shootout, or it doesn't look like. It seems like a genuine connection with nature. So today, since we're talking about the earth and all, we'll practice a meditation of like earth element. Okay,
Okay.
and there are many ways of practicing this, and then really like you feel very connected, and even when you practice this continuously, uh, wherever you see also you start how to say experiencing this. And so usually a person is supposed to make a circular object with clay,
Hmm.
usually like the circular diagram, no, diameter, no, is
Yeah.
like 30 centimeters or 1 foot, and a circular, and it's usually placed in a frame, like a white colored frame, like 3 feet wide. uh, in the middle of that you place this, but we can practice it here also. So the idea is like the earth element is a key factor, and we also have in our body the most hardest parts has more earth element, but the liquid parts of the body also has actually earth element. We think just earth is just the soil, right? But even the soil we are talking about, there's air inside, there's water inside, right?
Yeah.
And if it's heated up, it also heats up because there's fire element inside. Huh? And we are talking about even more subtle places, subtle things. So then this earth element, yeah, we are talking about. So they say like there are some clay that is very radiant. It's very nice. It seems very natural. One time I was in a very far away place. It was very hot there also. Scott, there was a house. It was like in one of those fairy tales, the real house.
Right.
It was not some luxury place or resort or just a house. And it was like built in a way, it must be very cool inside, uh, with natural roofing. And they have like really made the surface of the wall so polished, it was almost glowing.
Good.
And the doors was just from coconut leaves, and just you have to remove it and place it back again. And even the premises, they have put some white sand, and it was like very neat, very simple, but like uh, very neat and elegant, really. And you feel so connected. No, like it seems very nice. And now with the eco-tourism and all, they try to bring us back into those things. No,
Yeah.
so we thought, oh, they are primitive, and we started building all these things. But now with tourism, people pay big prices and go and stay in the clay huts again. No? In a way, it's very ironic, right?
It
Ironic.
is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like you destroy
It's very
everything and
funny.
just go
Uh,
somewhere, and then finally you pay a big sum and then come and or
yeah.
you have all this research and everything, make all these chemicals, and then you
Mhm.
okay like organic. No, it's
Mhm.
kind of like strange, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these things like earth, wind, water, fire, they connect you, and because we are also that. So most of our solid parts are more earth element. For example, but for example, water also, if you take and splash it, it strikes your body, right? Yeah, that's a very
Mhm.
convenient way of like
Yeah.
sending out a very like how to say arrogant animal or something without hitting them with stones or something. So some animals they don't like water. So if you just put some water, uh, they even if they are aggressive, they don't come. They don't like it, no. Uh,
Yeah.
so but it actually like and water also can be solidified. So even in water, liquid form also, it's when you are taking a shower, it hits our body and
Mhm.
we feel it. That's also because there's a element there also. And the same water, that's why it can be made into ice. And if ice comes, no, like a
Yeah.
hailstorm or something, it can be damaging, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. Yeah. So we just try to relax, just settle down, and this can take you very far, actually, within the concentration levels. Take a few deep breaths. Take a few deep breaths, breathing in from your nostrils and then slowly exhaling from the mouth. Breathing in from the nostrils and breathing out from the mouth. And with each exhale, try to let your body relax. So, by relaxation, what we do is we remove the excess effort, excess tension, or tension. After that, we try to use a body relaxation. So, what we are doing, even the earth element of our body, we are making it more subtle. Because if there's hardness, there's softness. If there's heaviness, there's lightness. So when we put our attention on those specific areas, actually the molecule structure starts slowly changing to make it more comfortable. Slowly move to the top of the head, the scalp area, and just stay there and see whether you can let go of any kind of tension or any kind of effort for that matter. Then slowly move to your forehead area and stretch out all those thinking lines and everything. Then slowly move to your eyebrows. Just let them drop to either side. Moving down to your eyes. Think of a time you are in deep sleep. So let the eye muscles move into any direction they want. We usually practice with closed eyes. So you can just let the physical eye have a good rest. Then slowly move along your nose. You might feel the breath. Even the breath has earth element. That's why when it hits the skin, you feel it, the element. Then slowly move your teeth and the tongue. So like the teeth and the bones, they are more of earth element. You can slightly release the jaw muscles. You feel more comfortable. Then the back of the head. Then slowly move down to your shoulders. Won't drop your hands on either side. That's why when you fall asleep and all our arms just drop. Even if you are seated, our arms just drop, no? Or you can just place them right in front of you, but with minimum effort, as if they are made of rubber, or you become the jacket you are wearing. Then slowly move to your chest area. If needed, adjust the posture. Then the abdomen. Move the body even sometimes light adjustments make a very nice difference. Then the upper back, lower back. Later, when you're practicing by yourself, you can do part by part even. You can take one of your arms, the upper part from the shoulder to the elbow, elbow to the wrist, all the way right up to your fingertips. And just let them loose. If you feel even more tension, just release it more. Even more means like if you feel more, still there is more tension, try to loosen up. And do the same to the opposite hand or the arm. From the shoulder to the elbow, elbow to the wrist, all the way right up to the fingertips. And just let them hang. So the whole upper body we try to relax. Do the same to the lower part of the body. See whether you are seated comfortably. And then just like the arm, select the leg, the upper part of the leg, the knee, the middle part of the leg, all the way right up to the toes. Do the same to the opposite leg also. The upper part, the knee, the middle part, all the way right up to the toes. So the whole body we try to relax. When you're practicing by yourself, you can go a few cycles of this. Now slowly bring your attention to your heart area and just let the mind be there for some time. Or the awareness or the mindfulness, just be there. And just let it be and let it feel how it is like to be in the present moment. And you can leave your past and the future aside. It's very comfortable to be in the present moment, which is the truth actually. And if you want to sharpen your awareness, you can slowly bring it to your breath. Be with the breath for some time. It's like a sharpening stone. Very powerful. So more all of these practices, more you do it in a continuous way, you can have the full benefits of them. So if you like, slowly move to your breath and see. Sometimes the breath can become very subtle by this time. And now if you want, you can slowly bring your hands and place them any way you like, but do it in a very subtle movement that doesn't damage or disrupt your balance or the calm you brought in. It should become more settling. We should not disrupt what we are trying to build very carefully. You can be with the breath and feel sometimes the breath becomes so subtle you cannot even almost feel it. That's an indication that this mind has settled quite a bit. And with slight movements also you feel like the breath becomes more rougher. Now slowly think of some earth you have seen before. If it's more brownish and more like in a radiant way, without much cracks or stones or things like that, if it was a flat surface, more to the lighter color side. And just bring that memory to your mind. More the lighter version is better. And then just look at this or remember it with your mind. Then what we do is we just, if you are doing it the one like we mentioned before, we have to look at it with open eyes and then closed eyes. But you can do when you're outside also. Say you are seated on a bench or something, you can look at the ground below you, but you have to look at the soil. And then with open eyes, you look, and in your mind, you just say earth. We are referring to the earth element, but just say earth, Patavi, earth. And we just say earth, 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 earth by looking at it, and then we close our eyes and we say earth, 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 earth. So what happens is this mental object starts growing in your mind. Then after that, this starts to become like a circle. Then it's like a true meditation object. Before that, we had to take the imprint into our minds. Then afterwards, what happens is there are just like any other meditation, it starts to grow in your mind. And then even these earth elements become so bright, and there are different, even the negatives start to reduce appearing in your mind. There are so many benefits. And there are things called jhana, like very deep concentration. And actually, this meditation can take to the highest amount of levels. There are 8 stages. And it can take you, they are called jhana, or in English, absorptions, or in Indian terminology, dhyana. Now let's do a few minutes by ourselves in a silent meditation. Let's do a 10-minute silent meditation. So you can practice this meditation or any other meditation. Just relax and do. finish our meditation time, slowly bring back the mind to your heart area. And if you want, you can slowly place your hand in the chest or the heart if you like. And we can just say with our minds, may all beings be well, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful, may all beings be well, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful, may all beings be well, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful. And then slowly bring your attention to your eye area and then open your eyes. Keep it. So this meditation very powerful. This meditation also very powerful. It's not for like one specific tradition also. From ancient times, people had been using. And this can stop actually, but you have to practice it. And then after that, without the external element or sorry, external object, you can, when you close your eyes, this comes up. And one time a funny thing happened to me, like I was practicing this, and in another place, when I was walking on a road, small road, like I felt something very familiar, no? And then I backtracked actually, really like rewind because nobody was there. I could do any crazy thing also, no? So I actually went like backtracked and I was like looking. No, I didn't want to lose that moment. It was exactly like the object I had taken. I don't want to like to explain it. It will take some time, so I'll just keep it short. And it was exactly, and not only that, the whole area it became a circle. So later on, when it comes to your mind, also whenever, even if you look, so if you are outside and if you are a nature lover, oh, you don't have to be a nature lover because we are nature, right? So, and if you are working and all, you feel the earth, and some people call it Mother Earth even, right? And then, or if you're just on a bench, you can just look at the earth. More lighter, it's better because it like lightens up the mind. And if it doesn't have cracks, or and if it's like doesn't have many pebbles and stones, it's better. Then what happens is like this imprint comes into your mind, and with closed eyes, you can see exactly like that. Then after that, it starts becoming a circle, and not only that, it starts spreading. And by that time, and then it's all covered by light. That means the mind is settling down and relaxing. And these are like mirror, how to say, reflections of the mind. More it gets calmer, more it gets more brighter and clear. So by these indication, you can see how the state of the mind. But we are not after these lights or anything. So then after that, what happens then? There are different mind states which are very powerful. A person can reach. These are called jhana. And even the basic level, if it was like a swimming pool, say there are 8 levels or something. Even the surface or the border of the swimming pool also belongs to the swimming pool, right? The edge of the swimming pool. And then, but when you reach that level, also the negatives stop attacking your mind. You feel very comfortable. It's called bliss, and all. It's very comfortable and happiness. And say the same effect if you jump into the pool or if you submerge, you are really in the pool. And if you go deeper, more you are into it, right? That happens. So there can be so many things done just by this earth, wind, water, fire.
Yeah.
Uh,
It is a very powerful meditation, but it's very subtle as well. It's a very grounding meditation. Yeah.
and then even in the chakra meditation, Muladhara chakra. The first chakra, they start from the below upwards, no?
Okay.
And they use like kind of like affirmations, and it says like it's related to Mother Earth, and it's a way of grounding, like you said.
Okay.
So there are so many practices from so many traditions. Okay, and then
I
thank you so much everybody for participating, and it was a great pleasure as always, Scott, for hosting, and then Sunny for uh, adding all her wisdom and knowledge and experience to this session. And hopefully we can meet all again very soon. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thanks for joining us.